Got it. Perfect.
So I'd like to welcome everybody on this Saturday, actually this beautiful Saturday here in Charlotte, as well as in Florida, to our top 10 healthy tips for 2022. I am Dr. Felicia Harris. For those who have not met me, you will soon meet Dr. Monique Raynard Boykins shortly, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I will be fielding other people coming into our Zoom, so if I'm looking like I'm going back and forth, my apologies, or if I see a question in the chat. But again, welcome. I'm excited that you are here today, and just a bit of a quick background. The Facebook page that I started almost a year ago called Get Your Health Back on Track came out of just a personal journey to have a better understanding about what was going on for me health-wise, as well as understanding some of the related generational conversations I've had with my doctor. And I had just run my very first half marathon, went to get some dental work. And when you go get the dental work, 9 times out of 10, they will take your blood pressure. Well, they took my blood pressure and it was a crazy number, like something over 200. And I was in disbelief, like, what's going on here? And so it was then I said, okay, I've got to do a little bit more investigation, because I eat pretty good, not perfect, but pretty good. You know, I was a heavy exerciser, but that number just kind of threw me for a loop. Got in contact with Dr. Boykins. And so over the last 3 years, the last year in particular on the Facebook page, I've been looking and sharing with people what's been happening on my journey. So today we're going to share some of the top 10 healthy tips for 2022. Things, a lot of things you may have already added to your lifestyle, some things that you can add today. We do have a bit of a disclaimer. Let me get to it. Here we go. And right. Our disclaimer is, of course, this is not medical advice. And if you see any materials that might be on YouTube, Facebook, if you're looking at things on Google or look at other influencers, you will see a similar, but this is not medical advice. What I do encourage everyone to do is to make sure, if you see things that you're interested in, to share that information with your doctor or a medical professional before you make any changes, any modifications to your health journey. So please make a note of that and do that as well. The other piece that I will add, and we do have a tip about spirituality. We are women of God, so we do believe in glorifying God in our bodies, our spirit, which is His, and we thank Him for the healthy body that we have and the body that we have right now. All right, I'm going to let Dr. Monique Raynard Boykins introduce herself.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening on Saturday. I'm Dr. Monique. I am a functional nutritionist and also doctor of chiropractic, and I chose to really specialize in hormones and just whole food nutrition because food holds so much power. And that's really what I'm passionate about. The functional piece comes from working with really complex cases and putting those puzzle pieces together for other people and helping them understand their bodies, empowering them so they can really make the changes that they want to. I love dogs. I have 2 at our house and a couple at my mom's. I think I'm a low-key dog rescuer at this point, but I just love them and the unconditional love that they give back. And I'm also an entrepreneur as well. I'm just really passionate about having the flexibility and freedom, and that involves just being able to help people with what I do. So that really allows me to really dive into that and explore my passion. So that's a little bit about me. I'm ready to get started.
All right, and for those of you who I have not, now if you do, if you do have your sound on, if you can mute, and then when we get to questions, I'll have everybody unmute so we can hear you. But keep your camera on so I can see your face, please. I am, again, Dr. Felicia Harris. I teach at UNC Charlotte. I've been teaching at UNC Charlotte since actually my first classes. I used to teach just part-time, and from 1996, that's dating me. You'll see how long I've been there. And more full-time since 2003. And Get Your Health Back on Track. Again, that page is fairly new, February of 2021. And so I consider myself a bit of a healthy lifestyle influencer, natural food and spiritual advocate. And as I said before, I am half marathoner. I've run 15 half marathons, and I am hoping to get into a training program where I can complete one full marathon. I'll let you all know how that goes.
That's awesome.
So we're going to get started, and our first tip is sleep. So I'm gonna, does that have, well, I guess we'll see it a later one too, but I'll let Dr. Monique start us off with sleep.
Sure. Yes, so sleep, something we will, some of us may not take for granted, but something we do take for granted. If we don't get enough of it, we will definitely feel it the next day. It's so essential, all of the processes that happen in our body when we get a good restful sleep. And I'm talking about entering into that REM sleep mode and hopefully not having to wake up throughout the night. So there are a few things that are really helpful with kind of priming your day and setting you up for getting that restful sleep at night. So hopefully you can take some of these tips away and start to think about the habits that you build that are, centered around your sleep habits. So one of the first things is in the morning, if you're able to, I live in Florida, so most of the time we get some sunshine, but we have had a few days where it's not been sunny, so I completely understand. But if you can wake up and get sun as soon as you can within the first 1 to 2 hours of rising, that's really going to help with your circadian rhythm. And that circadian rhythm is what helps your body adapt to daytime to nighttime and helps you get that restful sleep throughout the day. So that is really, really helpful if you can start to get sunlight in 1 to 2 hours after you wake up. If not, they do have what's called happy lights that you can have in your room, or if you work from home, or if you're in a classroom all day, you can definitely utilize one of those if you live in just a colder region and you have a true winter in your state. So something that's really, really important as well is having a hard stop with caffeine throughout the day. I usually don't have caffeine after 12. That is because our body's natural hormone levels, they start to decline, and that's when our melatonin should kick in so we can get that restful sleep at night. So we don't want to keep really high stress hormones throughout the day, and we want to try to make sure that we limit things that contribute to those stress hormones like caffeine, rigorous exercise, and blue light from our computer screen. So if you have blue light blocking glasses, those are really helpful. And if you also have the screens on your phone that have the blue light sensor or blocker, those are really helpful as well. And lastly, it's really all about priming your environment for when you get that restful sleep. And a really good way is just to create a routine. Some tips to do that is 1 to 2 hours before bed. Definitely just kind of power down or put your phones to the side so your brain is not still kicking in and still in overdrive from a busy, busy day and scrolling through Instagram and looking at all of your text messages. It really helps the brain know, like, it's time for me to settle down and get this restful sleep. And you can also have a cup of hot tea, something really relaxing. Just really priming your environment and starting to get a routine can really help with getting some restful sleep, and it will also play a role in your overall health.
Okay, and for my students on, now I can make sure I can. For my students on campus, I know sometimes it can be a little difficult And especially to get that 7 to 8 hours or even 6 hours, whatever that dimension is, and just for many of us in general, but making that a habit of making sure you get adequate sleep. Because I think sometimes people think, oh, well, I only got 5 hours of sleep. Okay, I'm gonna make it up on the weekend. Sleep deficit is sleep deficit. You don't make it up, but making those changes can help you get on a consistent pattern so that you do get enough sleep. Food intake. Food intake.
This is a good one.
This is a big one. So I'm gonna let you start first, Dr. Monique.
Okay, I was gonna let you start, but okay. So food is much more than, you know, I need to get this meal in because I have to eat, or let me aim to get 3 meals a day. Food is not only fuel, but it's information on a cellular level. So what we put into our bodies is so important on a daily basis. It can help us balance our blood sugar, which is really the crux for our, you know, our hormone health. Blood sugar is a topic that we can probably spend all day on, because it's so important to our energy levels, just being mentally aware and clear, and also reducing cravings too. So, you know, speaking to the students, you know, I've been there, I'm a forever student, I feel like, but you can feel when you don't have the best fuel, how you're in class and your attention span tends to wane, or you just kind of feel that afternoon slump. Creating that balanced plate throughout the day, aiming for healthy fats, fibers, and protein can really help with just providing that mental clarity and the energy that you need throughout the day. And it's so important to make sure too that we're not just focusing on things like calorie counting and, you know, kind of the harder aspects of nutrition, but really focusing on getting a lot of colors on your plate and also making sure that you're getting a lot of nutrients in. So I'm going to let Dr. Harris speak a little bit more on just your processed food inventory and how important that is.
So one of the journeys I think many of us have to take a moment and think about is this whole idea of the types of foods, and whether you're, you know, in a college environment or not, on your own in an apartment, you know, off campus or whatever. The biggest thing is to know what it is that you have in that space. I remember, again, was the beginning of last year when I said, okay, you know, if the main culprit right here now is food, it's not that I'm not moving and all of those things. Let me see what's in the pantry. And what was, of course, eye-opening was I opened the pantry and said, there's nothing in here I can eat, because it's not, you know, whole food. Maybe it was maybe I had some peanuts or some pecans. It might have been something like that. But 90% of what was in that pantry was not, you know, a whole food. And so the one thing to remember, and this can be a lot more difficult just because eating healthier, you know, there may be some shifts in price point, but buying the healthiest foods that you can, you know, find, and other things in moderation. So doing a processed food inventory, I think, is important. So you look and see how much do you already have, and then what ways can you then eliminate, you know, those things that are high in ingredients that you should not have. And I think we also, oh, it's in the next slide, reading labels. This is another one. I follow a couple of influencers myself, and or today I was at the grocery store and looking at, you know, some different foods, and if it's more than a certain amount of ingredients, and if I don't know what the word is, can't pronounce it, have no clue what it is, then I try to find another better alternative. And that's all foods, whether it's meats, breads, all foods. So being able to read the labels is important. I also have an app. There are many apps out there by different organizations as well as other influencers, but I have an app that has, you know, the little thing on it where you can put it on the food label and it tells you if it has great ingredients, or if it's got things that you don't, necessarily need to have in your body, like processed oils and sugar that shouldn't be in your food. Um, and yeah, those are the two big things: reading labels and processed foods. So if you're eating on campus, try to eat the best things that you can. If you're eating the best things you can, because I know it can be, struggle, with budget and stuff, trying to, really shop at places that might have a bit more diversity for you. Water, water, water. Water is important.
Oh my goodness.
Hydration, water, water, water. We are 60% made of 60% plus water. And when I think about it that way, it makes me think, yes, I need to have my big bottle of water that I haven't finished today. I've got to finish it today. But just helping detoxify our bodies, helps to transport our nutrition. And a lot of times, if you're feeling hungry, many times you might need to be hydrated and not necessarily be hungry. So always, having a bottle of water or access to water can be important, so you're just not mindlessly eating when in essence you are hungry. And you can put in the chat, how many people are soda drinkers? Sodas. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but even somebody was saying to me a while ago, well, I drink sodas, but I drink Coke Zero, and I drink all of these zero beverages. And I always say, look at the ingredients. How do you have a soda that has no calories, no ingredients except a few, and it still tastes like a soda? So that would make me want to do even more research to make sure I'm not putting something, that's maybe toxic to my body other than water. I do have a few little numbers to give you. So if you are drinking, my favorite drink when I was still drinking juices was that red Minute Maid. You can get it anywhere. Fruit Punch, you can get it from Target, you can get it from Walmart, Publix, any grocery store. And when I finally got up the courage to look at the ingredients,
Scary.
22 grams of sugar, which is in essence 5 teaspoons of white sugar. And once I saw that, that was the first thing we excommunicated from our house, was the red fruit punch. But sodas, if you have another alternative, and if you can make water kind of your first priority, I would recommend doing that.
Yes. Yeah. And to piggyback off of that, I saw a comment that said, does ginger ale count? Absolutely. That counts as a soda, not as a water intake. Take a look at the back of that, and reading food labels is so powerful. Taking a look at the back of that, and you will see probably 34 plus grams of sugar in a single ginger, and that's just the can. Okay. So sugar robs the body of nutrients, right? And minerals. So we definitely need to hydrate with water so we can replenish that. So being able to swap out, if you do maybe 3 cans of soda a day, swapping one of those out for an extra cup of water can make such a big difference in your hydration status, and really providing you with better just blood sugar, glucose, and just levels like that even more. So it's really, really helpful to take a look at the back of those labels. It's actually recommended that you don't get more than 16 grams of added sugar. So that's not fruit sugar, but added sugar per day. And all of those flavored drinks that usually have dyes and all these other ingredients that are slightly scary and also banned in other countries, those are the things that you want to take a look at on your labels on the back of your soda cans. So if it goes above 16, we got to find an alternative. Okay. Wow.
Any other questions before I go to the next slide? Vitamins and supplements.
Oh boy. Okay. So this is one that kind of is a confusing topic, because When you go into any store now, there are so many supplements, right? So many vitamins. So which one do I choose? How do we even know which one is right for me? It's tough. Okay. So to be completely honest, this is something that you would want to get help with, and try not to do this one on your own, so that you know that you're getting what you're supposed to and filling in the gaps where necessary. So it's always ideal to try to get as many of your nutrients from the food that you eat. And that comes from having a colorful plate, balancing that plate out. And really, when you go to look to get any vitamins or supplements, that's when you really want to be specific. So choosing quality brands, like if you're going for a multivitamin, choose a quality brand over maybe necessarily the store brand, right? So, and they have whole food supplements now. So that is a really, really great way to go if possible, because they're digesting better. Our body recognizes those foods and those nutrients better, so it's able to assimilate it and use it as energy for the body. But if it doesn't recognize it and it's foreign, then unfortunately we're probably just going to pee that out, and our body can't use that. So that's really, really important when it comes to supplements, is get some guidance, do your research, and also rotate your supplements throughout the year. You aren't going to necessarily be taking the same supplements all the time. So listen to your body. And if you feel as though, you know what, maybe I don't need to take this, or it's kind of working against me opposed to how it was last month, listen to that and those signs that your body shows you, and rotate your supplements throughout the year.
Okay, very good. Sure, I'm trying to keep up with making sure no one's asked questions. We will keep moving.
Yes, I'm taking a look as well.
Sunlight, again, important for your circadian rhythm, our body clock, and just it definitely important for hormonal balance. I'll let
so absolutely, in our immune system, especially in the day and age that we live in, the more sunlight that you can get can help with converting that vitamin D and helping you fight off, colds and viruses. So that's another thing that has been important in a lot of processes for people when they're looking to get better. You just feel good out in the sun. It's not to sit out there and bake or anything, but just to really get out there and get that conversion rate up for yourself for vitamin D, for sure.
Less sugar. We just spoke of the less sugar. I will say, in my case, I saw this report. Actually, a colleague did this report called The Science of Sugar, and just some of the historical foundation of why our foods became more sugary, for lack of another way to say it. And I think it was this report that really influenced me to share, because when I went back today to look at some of the first posts, I think maybe the first 6 posts were from that report, The Science of Sugar. Again, looking at your labels and seeing how much sugar, how much added sugar. Why do we have sugar in our ketchup? And you can tell why you have sugar in your ketchup when you get an organic ketchup with no sugar, and you can really tell the difference in what it tastes like. So our foods have more sugar than probably needs to. We know sugar just affects just overall body quality, our inflammation. It and one of the questions someone said, well, we need sugar. Yes, we need sugar, and to of course process our glucose, but it should be found natural sugars that we'll see in fiber, fruits, in our vegetables. You have something to add, Dr. Monique?
I agree absolutely with all of that. And just that inflammation, if you guys are unaware, inflammation is the root cause of disorders or disease in the body. So sugar feeds that inflammation. And to speak from a clinical aspect, one of the first places we address is inflammation in the body and how to get that down, because you just cannot heal or function in an inflammatory state. So it's really, really important to take a look at where those inflammatory triggers are coming from, sugar probably being the largest one that I've seen, and really starting to adjust and swap and ask yourself, what can I do to not get so much sugar in my diet? And at first, you might not feel so great when you start to take it out. I'm going to be completely honest. You might have a bit of a sugar flu or be moody. But again, it's going to get better. It is for the betterment of your health and just really decreasing that overall inflammation in the body so you can thrive on a daily basis and get A's in your class. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind.
Yes. Yeah. And I will, just end with the sugar piece, especially for my students online, now's the time to really take stock into your food. So you're not, my age and you're like, wait, what just happened? So really take stock. And again, no one's saying don't enjoy that Krispy Kreme donut, but you shouldn't be eating a box of Krispy Kreme donuts every day. So, enjoy it in moderation.
Yeah.
Spiritual formation, meditation, stress relief. And I know some people, some of you may be in midterm mode. Others of us may be, from work and families, jobs, other obligations. But it is so important to establish a way to decompress. And as we see on the screen, stress is a major contributor to disease. And just having a way to decompress outlets, to give you a minute just to breathe. I have a mechanism on my watch, and what I didn't realize was there were periods of time when I was really busy and I wasn't breathing. I kind of was holding my breath. And so every time I do that, my watch it vibrates and says, stop, take a minute and breathe, which when you think about it, it's like what you should be breathing. But if you're running around and kind of stressed out, you don't even realize that you're holding your breath for periods of time. Even if it's for 10 seconds, you're holding your breath. Why? So being able to decompress is a great way, to manage stress when you feel like, you have a lot, on your plate and that's going on that you're trying to complete.
Right. I absolutely agree with this. The breath is such a powerful tool and we take it for granted daily. But if you think about the first thing that stops or changes or pauses whenever something stressful in your life happens, whether you're studying, whether you just got a stressful call at work, the first thing that changes is your breath. So it's really, really powerful to be able to take hold of that and use it as a tool. I know some of my personal tools for spiritual formation and meditation and stress relief are involving breath. I love to do yoga in the morning and I love to do breathing and meditation at night. And I love to do devotionals and just taking that time just to really pause and just clear the mind is so, so powerful. And it's such a great stress reliever. So I encourage you to find your outlet, whether it's exercise, whether it is a form of yoga, whether it's, reading a book that has nothing to do with your regular daily responsibilities. Finding this is something that you can really use to help you just get through life, no matter how old or young you are. It's a great time to start now and just really find what helps you get grounded. It can definitely, in this world, we've had a lot of stimulants right now, whether it's from the news or somebody telling us what's going on the news, or just the responsibilities of life on a daily basis. So it's important to take that time and find that outlet for you. And it can look like singing in the shower. It doesn't matter, but find what works for you. For me, it's in my car. I like to sing in my car. So find what works for you and let that be your outlet. So you don't have to feel like you're always on overdrive or in survival mode. Because when we're in survival mode, all of those habits that we talked about before kind of go out the window, right? That's when we start to grab whatever we see to eat. That's when we forget to have that water. That's when we start to crave that soda or the Oreos, opposed to making those healthy habits and choices. So using this as a tool to start your day, especially, can really help make a trickle effect on the rest of the habits that you keep throughout the rest of the day. So super important, maybe the most powerful tip in this entire presentation, to be honest.
Okay, great. I would agree as well, because being able to recognize, your stressful or other things that might be going on can go a long ways for, again, being healthy and happy in your lifestyle.
Yes.
Hormonal balance.
All right, so this is my wheelhouse.
Yes.
Hormones are, so let's first clear the air and say every one of you on here has hormones. It is not applied, it applies to everyone, men and women. Hormones are messengers for us. Our insulin, our estrogen, our progesterone, all of those things are just messengers to our body to let us know how we're performing. It's kind of like our report card. So really when we get symptoms, whether it be a headache, whether it be sweating or fast heartbeats, those are the way that our body communicates with us. And one of the backbones is our hormones. So really some of the foundations of having good hormone balance or working towards that, because it's always a work in progress, right, is really understanding your body. So get out there, research. If you're not feeling yourself and you've been going through that for a while, don't settle for this is how it's going to be. Get out there, research, ask questions, find somebody who has more of an integrative approach to help you understand your body even more. And that can just be the most powerful tool you can use in order to produce that hormone balance, because now you know what's going on and now you can address it with your balanced diet and also improving the health of your gut and your liver. So a lot of our hormones are actually metabolized within our gut and our liver, and our liver has the job of detoxifying and other like 500 plus other functions in the body. So it's a heavy hitter. So it has a lot to do with just being balanced in general. So when we're talking about all of the habits that we've spoken about today, all 7 of those, all of these actually affect your gut and your liver and having a balanced diet. So these things are essential to having that hormone balance and really decreasing overall inflammation and getting into good levels of sleep at night, because that's when we heal. That's when our liver actually is most active between 1 and 3 a.m. So that's when it's doing its work. So then when you wake up, you start the next day and you're kicking in with your sunlight, you're kicking in with your awesome breakfast that was balanced and full of color. And now your blood sugar is on point. You're breathing throughout the day. So your gut is nice and relaxed, because that's where we rest and digest, right? And now we're just setting ourselves up for just an amazing, amazing day of hormone balance. So throughout the day, believe it or not, you are balancing your hormones by every habit that you keep throughout the day. And if you're able to get that movement in on a daily basis, I know Dr. Harris loves to run and get out there in nature, that's going to play such a key role in just how you relieve your stress and let your body recharge throughout the day. So the last tip for hormone balance is, to be honest, know your numbers. And this is where it comes into getting some help and looking into things. If you aren't feeling yourself, and even if you're feeling great, go get your numbers checked, go get your blood pressure checked, go get a checkup with your primary just to see how your blood sugar levels are and how they're running on a daily basis. So there's power in the blood, to be completely honest. I know me and Dr. Harris are God-fearing women, but that statement is ridiculous. There is power in the blood. And if you don't take a look at those numbers, you're doing yourself a disservice. So that's part of educating yourself and knowing your body and really understanding what's going on. So if there is anything that needs to be fixed, now is such a great time to do that. Even in college, this is, like she said, this is the best time to do that, because your stress levels are all over the place. And that's when these habits start to fall to the wayside. So whether you take 1 or 5 of these habits away from today's presentation, please just, start to think about the daily habits that you keep so you can keep that nice hormone balance. So when you get out of college, you can perform your jobs like you are in your amazing fields and be balanced, and your boss can't bother you because you've been grounded, you know how to relieve your stress. all of this really ties in together, but balancing hormones is really a huge foundational piece in this.
All right. Healthy cooking. This was the probably the one area where I probably spent the most time up to the last couple of years, just not investing time in just cooking and just kind of the quick eating, trying to find the quickest way to get something to eat. And what I have found again in doing this is just becoming more vigilant in getting the best ingredients I can put in my body and looking at ways to keep it cost effective. Because again, I know, you know, everybody's resources, of course, are going to be different, but what's the best foods that you can get in your body with the least amount of ingredients? So if you go in the grocery store and pick up fruits and vegetables, notice they don't have labels on them. Now, if you're doing organic, of course, because of pesticides and other things. And I thought, yeah, you have it here. Know the Dirty Dozen. I will let Dr. Monique talk about the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, but they don't have labels. So as close as you can get it, you know, I love hot dogs, but the regular hot dog, that's processed. So I try to find the next best thing. So I found a brand. They don't look like your regular hot dogs, but they actually taste pretty good. So, and not heavily processed too. So trying to find the best cost-effective alternatives, and then cooking. Like today, I'm gonna make, what's over there? Cauliflower steaks. I saw someone do it on one of my influencer channels. And before they said what it was, it actually looked like steak. So I'm going to try that recipe. But that cauliflower was not expensive at all. And then I already had, you know, you probably already have pepper and salt and maybe a few spices already in your space. So just trying to find the best things that you can cook, watching the oils that you put. So not cooking with Crisco, even though old school people tell you that's the best oil to use to cook chicken. But you can, you know, I have an air fryer. So when, you know, when you graduate, or if you have the means to buy an air fryer, that's another alternative. I'm still kind of researching the mechanics of that, but that's another alternative. And then just choosing to, you know, make some of the recipes yourself. And so you know what ingredients you're using in your food.
Yes, absolutely. One of the biggest questions I think I get is, okay, is my food going to be boring? And do I have to buy all organic things now that I'm changing my diet? And no, you don't. And that's where it comes in, knowing the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So every year, the Environmental Working Group puts out a list called the Dirty Dozen, which includes literally the dirtiest and most toxic foods, like vegetables and produce, that are out there. Those are the ones you want to buy organic, okay? And then the Clean 15 are the ones that have the least amount of toxins. So there's a list of Clean 15 ingredients that are produce that you can get away with not buying organic. So you don't have to go broke on healthy cooking. There are so many ways around it. And you will be surprised to find that if you're able to fill your plate with half veggies, that's actually way more inexpensive sometimes than filling your plate with half of meat. Meat is very expensive. And it's not to say that you need to be vegan or vegetarian or even label your eating or have this strict diet. But the more color you can get in your plate, the better. And it will actually save you some money. So try that out, and also avoiding the middle aisles as much as you can when you're grocery shopping will also save you money. If you haven't noticed, a lot of packaged foods are actually way more expensive than shopping on the outside or perimeter of the store, because on the outside and perimeter, it's mostly fruits and veggies. Stay away from the bakery section, fruits and veggies and your meats. So shopping on the perimeter of the store to start is a really great way. If you want to make a new habit and change some of your healthy cooking habits, that's a really good way to start, and keep that in mind.
All right. And we are now at tip number 10. We are actually doing great on time. And I think we already mentioned, but we will mention it again, the importance of movement, helps with circulation, helps with stress management, just it's that what's the hormone, Monique?
Dopamine, yes.
Dopamine.
Yes, dopamine and serotonin, yeah.
So if you're feeling blue or you got the blues, as people would say, usually what I do is like, okay, so let me see if I can get a 20-minute run in, and or walk on the treadmill, or walk around. If you walk around campus, I do it on campus too. Wherever I'm at, if that's what's going on and I have a lot going on, just a quick 15-20-minute walk is almost miraculous. And you feel just like you had that favorite candy bar or cookies that you love to eat. So moving is just so important, especially in high stressed environments like some of you are, being in school.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, and we kind of already talked about a few of the movements. So it's just really finding what works best for you. If you're a homebody or you don't want to go outside and it's freezing over where you're at, then there's so many great apps, like Asana Rebel is a great yoga app. The Nike training app has so many, and it's free. It has so many different types of low intensity workouts or high intensity workouts. So those are just really great tools. And if you go to your Apple or your Google Play Store, there's so many apps now that are free that can really help you figure out what type of movement works best for you.
Great. So let me get us to at our questions.
Okay.
I went too far. There we go. So I'm going to take it off of screen share, Dr. Monique, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
We can see people, and I know we have a question already in oh, and I don't see myself, but can you see me? No, you can. Okay.
Yep.
We have a question, I know, in the chat. Oh, oops. Hold on, let me get to it. Do you see it? And I think this was one of the questions on my site too, that asked about what foods help with menopause, hot flashes.
Ew, that is a deep-rooted question.
Yes.
So the question is what's causing my hot flashes? Obviously, with menopause, we have a lot of those hormone fluctuations going on, most of that in between estrogen and progesterone. So really, to help with that, we want to eat foods that are progesterone boosting, right? Because that's our hormone that keeps us cool, calm, and collected and keeps those hot flashes out of bay. So we want to look at foods that are rich in zinc, magnesium, L-arginine. So you want to look at your nuts, your vitamin C foods. So those are your bright, colorful, and actually red bell pepper is actually one of those. If you like to cook with that, is highest in vitamin C. So you want to aim for more of the colorful foods, to be completely honest, to help balance out those progesterone levels. And then take a look at your sugar intake, because estrogen, when it's high and we're having those hot flashes and things like that in that state, and when it's kind of all wonky and over the place, it feeds off of inflammation. So anything that's going to kick inflammation up is going to kick estrogen all over the place. So we want to keep estrogen out of bay. Okay. Is that helpful?
Look, and I'll see.
I think that was D'Amica.
Yes. Are there any other questions or takeaways? Yes, she said yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions or takeaways?
I have a question for everyone. So what is one healthy habit that you can take away and start to implement after today? Because knowing and doing are two different things. So let's commit to something new today. And what can you take away from this presentation to help you just thrive?
I'll go.
Okay.
I know y'all talked about, okay, I don't drink soda. I mean, ginger ale and I'm sick, but y'all, that's not fair. But I know you said like you're a person who drinks 3 sodas. Maybe one day you place one with the water. So I know me, like I'll go on health kicks and I try to go cold turkey. So maybe just not basically walking into a better lifestyle versus trying to just change everything in a day.
Yes, that's the way to do it. That's awesome, Destiny. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And I just had someone post, I'm gonna start running. Oh, I wanna start running with Dr. Harris. Come on.
Tamika, you don't know what you're asking for.
Yes, yes. Oh, you can come run. I will run with you. Other takeaways? Like I said, I am looking at the chat too, so if I miss you, I'm sorry. Yeah. Any other takeaways? All right, well, Dr. Monique, I said I would not keep you. And we are at our hard stop. And I would like to thank everybody who took their time out today to join us. This has been great. Hopefully we will do some more and we will keep you in contact with that. And again, thank you so much for your participation. You have remarks, Dr. Monique?
Thank you for coming. And I think that's a great habit, Sayoma, drinking water and adjusting your sleep schedule. That's a really good way to start. I really enjoyed this today. So we will have to figure out another time and another topic to tackle for this year. It's only February, so.
Oh, we have the whole year. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, well, I will see everybody later. Bye, Dr. Monique.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.